4 years at Durham studying BA Combined Honours and Social Sciences, specifically Geography and History, at the College of St Hilda and St Bede. I know something that my 4 years at Durham have taught me is kind of like how I study best, and there are quite a lot of things I wish I'd known beforehand. For me, the biggest thing is kind of learning how to plan your day and what works for you. For me personally, I'm very much a morning person, so I found it best if I set an alarm quite early, get up, get ready, and I can be ready to kind of do my work and study quite early in the morning. I know this is something that very much depends between different people. Like, I've got a housemate who is the exact opposite and realises he does his best work in the evenings and at night. So he'll kind of have time off during the day and then go to the library in kind of the evening and get lots of work done there. So I think that's something that very much depends on you and what works best, but it's a really useful thing to try and figure out. Personally, for me as well, I find to-do lists the best way to organise my time. I know some people really like having like strict revision timetables and following those, but I know for me, work never quite takes as long or as short as I expect it to, so I end up not being able to properly follow them. So instead, I like creating a big weekly to-do list of everything I need to do in that week and then splitting it down into each day, because that gives me kind of a sense of perspective of this is what I need to do in this length of time. And it means that I'm a bit flexible, so if a task takes me longer or shorter than I expected, there's nothing wrong with that. The one thing I do schedule in though is I make sure I plan in time to kind of do fun things. So this might be usually going for coffee with a friend or going for a walk, or at the moment it could be things like having a FaceTime call with my old housemates or playing an online game with them, because I think it's really important to have that kind of work-life balance. And once you know what times you work best and that you're going to be most productive, you can make sure that you schedule like your fun things outside those times. So I've also found it really helpful to kind of figure out how I best prioritise things to keep track of what I need to do. As I mentioned already, I have a big weekly to-do list that I then split down into days, and definitely that gives me a sense of perspective, because I know if I just looked at my weekly to-do list, I'd find it so overwhelming I wouldn't know where to start. For example, if by the end of the week I say I need to have done all the reading for a single essay, I'll give myself maybe on the Monday I might have 2 chapters of the book and 2 articles to read, because then that's kind of like a manageable amount I can do. I can see that I'm making distinct progress towards achieving what I want to. I've also found it really helpful all my 4 years at Durham to buy a huge like year-long wall plan. On this I mark out all my deadlines so I can kind of tell in advance. Say maybe I've got an essay due on the 18th of February, I can look ahead and figure out when I want my plan done by, when I want my first draft done by, and so on. This has also really helped me when I've had a lot of deadlines quite close together, so I might have 3 deadlines due in a week. So this means I can see that ahead of time and make sure I start working on them early, rather than kind of forgetting that they exist and then panicking close to the time. I've also found it really helpful to also put fun things on there. So it might be like, oh, we've got a college ball or a formal. And this way I can kind of look forward to that as well as looking forward to all my deadlines. And then when it comes to revision, it's almost, I do the similar thing like I said with the to-do lists. I'll break it down, I'll write down everything that I want to do for the module. So I might be like, lecture 1, I want to do this. Lecture 2, I need to summarise my notes and make a list of definitions, because I found some of the words in that lecture quite hard to kind of understand and remember. So then once I've done all that, I could be like, I want to create this mind map about this specific topic, and so on. So I think for me, it again helps it make it a lot more manageable, make sure I don't forget anything, because otherwise, if I just wrote down, revise the whole of this specific module, I honestly wouldn't know where to start, and that just kind of, when I'm stressed about something and don't know where to start, I'm a lot more likely to put it off. So for me, a big thing at uni has been learning how to stay motivated. My degree doesn't have many contact hours at all, and so with a lot of free time, it's quite easy to kind of do a lot of procrastination and just find yourself actually not having done that much by the end of the day. So for me, usually, I found it really helpful to work out of the house, because I find I'm a lot more productive when, for example, I'm in a library or in a cafe rather than just sitting in my room. Obviously, at the moment, this isn't really possible, so instead I've kind of tried to develop my desk as a place where I only do my degree work. Anything else, I'll be downstairs or sitting somewhere else in my room, because this kind of mentally helps me compartmentalise it. I'm also someone who isn't really able to work in silence. I find that if everything around me is silent, I'll hear all these little noises like a door closing or some birds or something and immediately get distracted. So because of that, I find it really helpful to work listening to movie soundtracks. There's a lot of really good film soundtracks out there. things like Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff, which are really kind of motivating and interesting to listen to, but I find them less distracting than either silence or music with words in. I also usually, to help me stay motivated, I study with a group of friends. As I said, I'm very easily distracted, and I'll often find myself, if I'm by myself, just kind of like scrolling through social media or Googling random things or watching Netflix when I should be studying. And so I find kind of being with other people gives me this like good level of accountability, because I feel bad if I'm procrastinating and they're all working hard. Obviously at the moment this has been a bit more of a challenge than usual, but one of the things that me and my friends organised was group Zoom calls, where we'd find ourselves kind of like, okay, we've booked in this 2 hours, we're going to do 50 minutes of work at the start, then take a break, say 10-15 minutes where we can chat, get a cup of tea and everything like that, and then go back to working. I know for all of us we found that really good, both for kind of the social aspect of it's great to kind of have that scheduled break where you chat to people, but also we all felt a lot more motivated because we knew the other people we were with were doing their work, and so we all ended up being more productive. My biggest thing would be, when it comes to studying, is finding what works for you. Everyone's going to do different things. For example, like I mentioned, my housemate worked best in the evenings and I work best in the mornings, and so on. So I think it's very much, it is a bit of trial and error, and there's no single right way to study. Same again, like location. Some people study best in their rooms. Like I know someone who likes doing all his essay writing like just in his bedroom, because then he can easily go and get a cup of tea and a snack when he wants to. Whereas for me, I find the mental separation of being outside my house really helpful. Another big thing that I've only really learnt since I've been at uni is figuring out whether a strict revision timetable works best for you. In school, I'd always made a really strict timetable of being like, okay, 9 to 10, I'm going to work on history. Then I'm going to have a half-hour break. 10:30 to 11:30, I'm going to work on geography. But then since I've been at uni, I've realised that this isn't necessarily how I work best. So yeah, there are so many ways that you can study, and my best advice would be try different things and see what works for you. There's no single right answer, but here are some things I found helpful, so I hope you found the video useful. Bye!